Today what I want to do is to just go over two problems where you're finding the domain of the composition. So in other words, f of g of x, we're finding the domain. We're going to start with number 16. And in number 16, what you're going to do is you're going to see what f of g of, well, let's see, they're going g of f of x. I like that. So we're going to find it first, g of f of x. That is going to be, which is the outside, g or f? G is the outside, so write that first, square root of x. But instead of x, what do we put in its place? The inside. So it's 3x minus 5. Are you okay with that? G of f of x. Now, to find the domain of this, what you're going to do is you're going to look at the domain of the inside, which was f, and you're going to intersect it with the domain of the outside, which is g, with f plugged in. Huh? That's weird. That's really weird, but here's all you do. What's the domain of f? I gave it to you. X less than or equal to 10. So I'm giving this. This is given. All right? I'm going to intersect that with the domain of g. Now, what is the domain of g here? What is the domain of this? X has to be greater than or equal to what? Yeah, it has to be greater than or equal to 0, or it isn't going to work. So what you do is put a box here, x greater than or equal to 0. Follow what I did there? So here's the domain of the inside. Here's the domain of the outside. But instead of x, I put a box because what we're going to put in the box is the inside function, which is 3x minus 5. Hi. Picture done? Yeah. Nice. And so then all you have to do is solve. So 3x is greater than or equal to 5. X is greater than or equal to 5/3. Now I draw a number line, and I say, okay, x is less than 10 or equal. And then I draw a number line, x is greater than 5/3 or equal to. And then I look at where's the intersection of those two. Where's the intersection of those two? 5/3 and 10. So my domain is between 5/3 and 10. Is that hard? I think it's kind of hard. I think it's kind of tricky. But that's the domain of g of f of x. Guess what you're going to do? You're going to do, let's do that later. Let's go to one of my slides here, this one right here. I've got them all laid out. And we're just going to keep doing these until they make sense. So here's f of x. Here's g of x. So find f of g of x here and find g of f of x there. So inside is g. Outside, we'll write it 2x plus 3. And what we put inside is 6x minus 5. And I get 12x minus 10 plus 3 is minus 7. How many got 12x minus 7 for that? Is that good? All right. Now, we're saying for f of x, this is the domain. For g of x, this is the domain, greater than 0. So we're going to find out what the domain of the composition of this is. So the inside is g of x. So you write the domain of g of x, which is the inside, which is x greater than or equal to 0. Intersect it with the domain of the outside, which is x greater than 2. But what do we put in for x for the outside? What do we put inside for x? The function. So that's going to be 6x minus 5. All right, so then we'll just have x greater than or equal to 0. This will be 6x greater than, add 5. You're going to get 7. X is greater than 7/6. So we look at our number line. Greater than 7/6. That's 1 and a 6th. X is greater than or equal, and that's this way. And then we have x greater than or equal to 0. That's here. That's this way. And the intersection is what? This guy. So that's your domain of f of g of x. Here's your assignment for Monday. It's very simple. I want you to do this one and the next trial 1, 2, and that's it. Just trial 1 and 2. Just do trial 1 and 2, find the compositions and those domains, and that's all you have to do. Does that make sense somewhat? So you're going to take the domain of the inside. If you had the square root of x plus 2, what you would do is you'd say, okay, I know what the square root function is. A good way to do it would have been this one. Square root of x in we'll get to the more complicated ones. But think inside and intersect with the outside, but you have to put inside in for x.